Fisherman and his wife. There was once a fisherman who lived with his wife in a hovel close to the sea. The fisherman used to go out all day a-fishing, and one day, as he sat on the shore with his rod, looking at the shining water and watching his line, all of a sudden his float was dragged away deep under the sea, and in drawing it up he pulled a great fish, a flounder, out of the water. The fish said to him, "Pray let me live. I am not a real fish, I am an enchanted prince. Put me in the water again and let me go." "Oh," said the man, "you may not make so many words about the matter. I wish to have nothing to do with a fish that can talk, so swim away as soon as you please." Then he put him back into the water, and the fish darted straight down to the bottom. When the fisherman went home to his wife in the hovel, he told her how he had caught a great fish, and how it had told him it was an enchanted prince, and that on hearing it speak, he'd let it go again. "Did it not ask for anything?" said the wife. "No," said the man. "What should I ask for?" "Ah," said the wife, "we live very wretchedly here in this nasty, stinking hovel. Do go back and tell the fish we want a little cottage." The fisherman did not much like the business. However, he went to the sea, and when he came to the edge, it looked all yellow and green. He stood at the water's edge and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, I prithee, hearken unto me. Else my wife will have her way, whatever I do, whatever I say." Then the fish came swimming to him and said, "Well, what does she want?" "Ah," said the fisherman, "my wife says that when I had caught you, I ought to have asked you for something before I let you go again. She says she won't live a minute longer in the hovel. She wants a little cottage." "Go home then," said the fish. "She is in the cottage already." So the man went home and saw his wife standing at the door of the cottage. Come in," said she. "Is not this much better than a ditch?" And here was a parlour, and a bedchamber, and a kitchen. And behind the cottage there was a little garden with all sorts of flowers and fruits, and a courtyard full of ducks and chickens. "Ah," said the fisherman, "how happily we shall live." "We will try to do so at least," said the wife. Everything went right for a week or two, and then the wife said, "Husband, there is not room enough in this cottage. The courtyard and the garden are a deal too small. I should like to have a large stone castle to live in. So go to the fish again and tell him to give us a castle." "Ah, wife," said the fisherman, "I don't like to go to him again, for perhaps he will be angry. We ought to be content with this cottage." "Nonsense," said the wife. "He will do it very willingly. Go along and try." The fisherman went, but his heart was very heavy, and when he came to the sea it looked blue and gloomy, though it was quite calm. He went close to it and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, I prithee, hearken unto me. Else my wife will have her way, whatever I do, whatever I say." "Well, what does she want now?" said the fish. "Ah," said the man very sorrowfully, "my wife wants to live in a stone castle." "Go home then," said the fish. "She is standing at the door of it already." So away went the fisherman and found his wife standing before a great castle. "See," said she, "is this not grand?" When they went into the castle together and found a great many servants there, and the rooms all richly furnished and full of golden chairs and tables, and behind the castle was a garden and a wood half a mile long, full of sheep and goats and hares and deer, and in the courtyard were stables and cowhouses. "Well," said the man, "now we will live contented and happy in this beautiful castle for the rest of our lives." "Perhaps we may," said the wife, "but let us consider and sleep upon it before we make up our minds." And so they went to bed. The next morning, when the wife awoke, it was broad daylight. She jogged her husband awake with her elbow and said, "Get up, husband, and bestir yourself, for we must be king of all the land." "Oh, wife, wife," said the man, "why should we wish to be king? I will not be king." "Then I will," said the wife. "But wife," answered the fisherman, "how can you be king? The fish cannot make you a king." "Husband," said she, "say no more about it, but go and try. I will be king." So the man went away, quite sorrowful to think that his wife should want to be king. The sea looked a dark grey colour and was covered with foam as he cried out, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, I prithee hearken unto me, else my wife will have her way, whatever I do, whatever I say." "Well, now, what would she want?" said the fish. "Alas," said the man, "my wife wants to be king." "Go home," said the fish, "she is king already." Then the fisherman went home, and as he came close to the palace, he saw a troop of soldiers and heard the sound of drums and trumpets. And when he entered in, he saw his wife sitting on a high throne of gold and diamonds, with a golden crown upon her head, and on each side of her stood 6 beautiful maidens, each a head taller than the other. "Well, wife," said the fisherman, "are you king?" "Yes," said she, "I am king." And when he looked at her for a long time, he said, "Ah, wife, what a fine thing it is to be king. Now we shall never have anything more to wish for." "I don't know how that may be," said she. "Never is a long time. I am king, 'tis true, but I begin to tire of it, and I think I should like to be emperor." "Alas, wife, why should you wish to be emperor?" "Husband," said she, "go to the fish. I say I will be emperor." "Ah, wife," replied the fisherman, "the fish cannot make an emperor, and I should not like to ask for such a thing." "I am king," said the wife, "and you are my slave, so go directly." So the fisherman was obliged to go, and he muttered as he went along, "This will come to no good. It is too much to ask the fish. He will be tired at last, and then we shall repent of what we have done." He soon arrived at the sea, and the water was quite black and muddy, and a mighty whirlwind blew over it. But he went to the shore and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, I prithee hearken unto me, else my wife will have her way, whatever I do, whatever I say." "What would she have now?" said the fish. "Ah," said the fisherman, "she wants to be emperor." "Go home," said the fish, "she is emperor already." So he went home again, and as he came near, he saw his wife sitting on a very lofty throne made of solid gold, with a great crown on her head full 2 yards high, and on each side of her stood guards and attendants in a row, each one smaller than the other, from the tallest giant down to a little dwarf, no bigger than my finger. And before her stood princes and dukes and earls, and the fisherman went up to her and said, "Wife, are you emperor?" "Yes," said she, "I am emperor." "Ah," said the man as he gazed upon her, "what a fine thing it is to be emperor." "Husband," said she, "why should we stay at being emperor? I will be pope next." "Oh, wife," said he, "how can you be pope? There is but one pope at a time in Christendom." "Husband," said she, "I will be pope this very day." "But," replied the husband, "the fish cannot make you pope." "What nonsense!" said she. "If he can make an emperor, he can make a pope. Go and try him." So the fisherman went, but when he came to the shore, the wind was raging, and the sea was tossing up and down like boiling water, and the ships were in the greatest distress, and danced upon the waves most fearfully. And in the middle of the sky there was a little blue, but towards the south it was all red, as if a dreadful storm was rising. At this the fisherman was terribly frightened, and he trembled so that his knees knocked together. But he went to the shore and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, I prithee, hearken unto me, else my wife will have her way, whatever I do, whatever I say." "What does she want now?" said the fish. "Ah," said the fisherman, "my wife wants to be pope." "Go home," said the fish, "she is pope already." Then the fisherman went home and found his wife sitting on a throne that was 2 miles high, and she had 3 great crowns on her head, and all around stood all the pomp and power of the church, and on each side were 2 rows of burning lights of all sizes, the greatest as large as the highest and biggest tower in the world, and the least no larger than a small rushlight. "Wife," said the fisherman as he looked at all this grandeur, "are you pope?" "Yes," said she, "I am pope." "Well, wife," replied he, "it is a grand thing to be pope, and now you must be content, for you can be nothing greater." "I will consider of that," said the wife. Then they went to bed, but the wife would not sleep all night for thinking what she could be next. At last morning came and the sun rose. "Ha!" she thought as she looked through the window. "Cannot I prevent the sun rising?" At this she was very angry, and she wakened her husband and said, "Husband, go to the fish and tell him I want to be lord of the sun and moon." The fisherman was half asleep, but the thought frightened him so much that he started and fell out of bed. "Alas, wife," said he, "cannot you be content with pope?" "No," said she, "I am very uneasy, and cannot bear to see the sun and moon rise without my leave. Go to the fish directly." Then the man went trembling for fear, and as soon as he was going down to the shore, a dreadful storm arose, so that the trees and the rocks shook, and the heavens became black, and the lightning played, and the thunder rolled, and you might have seen the sea great black waves like mountains, with a white crown of foam upon them. And the fisherman said, "Flounder, Flounder in the sea, I prithee hearken unto me, else my wife will have her way, whatever I do, whatever I say. What does she want now? Said the fish. Ah, said he, she wants to be lord of the sun and moon. Go home, said the fish, to your hovel again. And there they live to this very day.